Hello everyone. Let me make sure we can see and everything's working good. If I can find me somewhere, hopefully. Am I on the wrong page? No, I'm on the right page. Yay! Okay, let me turn this down. I love when it works right off the bat. So let me also type in hello, so the comments pop up on my screen. And if you would say hi to me when you come on, hopefully my comments will start popping up here. Let me see if I turn it the other way maybe. Okay, let me give it a second. Let me get my apron on and introduce myself. I am Susan with the Withered Barn in Homedale, Idaho. And we are a decor and craft embellishment supply boutique featuring Iron Orchid Designs. And I have found, I still don't see my comments, doggone it. I have found I love using all my old candles because I burn candles like all day, every day. I probably have 3 or 4 going in my house at once. And I wanted to figure out a way to reuse all the jars. The jars are amazing, right? So I've got like a regular jar, which is from Wally World, and it burned all the way down, so I just washed it out with a little soap and water. I left the tag on so you guys can see most tags will come right off. If they don't, I use a razor blade and scrape them off. But even if a little bit of residue stays on, it's totally fine because we're going to paint over it. But let me show you what the finished product looks like. And I even have some Bath and Body Works candles. Those jars I saved. I've got these. This is what it looks like. And so I just clean it out and reuse these jars. Any extra wax, here's a little tip. Extra wax, if it's super fragrant still, I will scrape it out and put it in another jar. And I save it. And when I have an old antique vintagey or smoky project like this, I will take some of that wax and rub it up underneath, pull the drawer out and rub it up underneath on the sides, anywhere where I'm not painting, so that that smell from the wax, my leftover wax, penetrates into the old wood and it makes it smell great. Just a little tip. I still can't see comments, so let me apologize if I'm not answering you. I'm not ignoring you. It says comments are on. Oh well, let's just keep going. So please do say hello when you come on. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me show you what our final outcome is going to look like. This is what it will look like. Isn't that pretty? Now I put these in for the holiday, but you can use this for anything. I have these types of jars that I keep utensils in. You can strap a little bit of ribbon around it, and you don't have to do an antique to gold look. We could add some metallic pink in here to pop through the mirror effect, but this is what the end result will look like. And it doesn't look like a candle jar anymore. And you can add as much molds as you want on here. So let me move this out of the way so you guys can kind of see. Isn't that pretty? And it's super easy. So I'm going to set that aside. I've got another jar right there that we just peeled that label off of. And we're going to get started. I hate when I can't see comments, guys. I don't know how to, let me go out and go back in. Let me see if that works. Not with you guys, but on my end. Nope, it doesn't work. Okay. Well, hopefully they'll just pop up all of a sudden, right? So what I'm going to do to prep my jar is I just wipe it off with a little bit of vinegar. This is vinegar. Paper towel, and I just kind of wipe it off. I don't need to prime it or etch it or anything. We're going to be using the IOD paper clay. I've already got one open. Set that over here. Put my jar right there. And I think this one, because this one I used Trimmings 2 mold, a section of it, which is this bottom one right here. I think this one I'm going to do some scroll on. So let me move this out of the way. Got there, got my glue. I think we're set. Okay. I'm going to take my paper clay. Again, I apologize, I can't see your comments. I will go back through once we're done and say hi to everybody and answer any of your questions. I'm just kind of kneading it a little bit. Softens it up. And I think I'm going to go with this one right here, this top corner. And I'm going to take a little brush, just a small little artist brush, and I'm dipping it in cornstarch, just plain old cornstarch. I've just gotten in a habit of doing it every single time, and I'm dusting my mold very lightly. You don't need a lot. But I find the little pieces, bits and pieces, don't stick in there as quickly, especially if you're doing a lot of IOD molds, one right after another. The little tiny particles left over and moisture from the clay, this helps so you don't have to wash your mold as often. Don't put a lot of cornstarch in there though, because as you're working with it, it'll keep lifting and it'll annoy you. I'm pretty patient though. So I'm just flattening it out, getting it a little bit in the shape first. Got a piece of paint in there. Getting it in my mold. And for whatever reason, I always start in my center and then push towards the edge. Got some more paint on me. And then I pinch it off once I get to the edge. Keep your little bag handy, Ziploc baggie. Freezer bags work the best to keep it from drying out. You can even put a moist paper towel in there if you want to. I haven't had any problem, I haven't needed to do that. Okay, that's nice and tight in there, but you can tell it doesn't look smooth and pretty. So I'm going to take the little tool I use. You can use a putty knife. You can use your fingers if they're strong enough. Mine are not strong enough. And I just drag it and pull off the excess. And I'm going to need this one to be super flat because of the surface I'm trying to put my mold on. I'm just cleaning up my edges a little bit, which is really easy with the micro rim. Okay. You can tell I'm just like super detailed, and if you don't want to be, you don't need to be. It'll still look beautiful because you want that vintagey look. Can you guys see? Maybe I need to scoot it down. Let me scoot the camera down just a bit. Oop. There. Hopefully that, and I'll scoot this way a little bit. So now I'm going to just flip it over, and because this is thinner on my edges, I'm going to be a little more careful. I'm going to push till it releases a little bit, get my edge, and coax it out of there. You'll find the molds with the more detail, you got to coax them a little bit. The bigger ones with big detail will flop right out of there. But here's the mold. Look at that. It's so pretty. So I'm going to put this over here. I've got a paper towel right there. So I'm going to just lay this on a paper towel just so it doesn't roll. I'm going to start with this gummy side that wouldn't come off, and my mold is going to go right over that. I'm going to use a little bit of wood glue. You could use E6000 if you want instant adhesion. There we go. Okay, dry my brush off. And I just use it straight out of the jar. Put it in my hand. And I'm going to brush on my glue. And for the glass, I really pay attention to my edges. Lay that down. I have a huge stash of these jars. Look at this one. This one's big and chunky. So it still has some wax in there. I've got to get that scooped out and put in another jar. But there's so many different kinds of jars these days. And don't throw them away. Definitely you could use them in your craft room to put your supplies in. You can use them for in your bathroom. Okay, slide this back over. And I want this right in the middle. And I'm going to gently press. Again, I always start in the middle and I work my way out, so if any of the glue squidges out, I can clean it. And I want to make sure all of my surface gets contact with my glass, because it lessens the air getting under there and my paper clay lifting as it dries. Okay, I'm just pressing on my edges. That looks pretty centered. I'm going to do another one on the other side. And then I think because it's not going to reach all the way around, I'll put one here and then I'll fill this in with bits and pieces of this arm. So let me scoot that one out of the way and we're going to do one more. Dust again with some cornstarch. I got way too much this time. Whew. Here. Okay. That's way too much, I can tell already. Getting a little overzealous. Okay. Again, I push in the centers first. Once you do a few molds, you'll get your own rhythm down. I've really been wanting to try the jewelry, but I have other projects to get done first before I can start on those. Okay. Take my tool, scrape some off. I got way too much, as usual. If any comes out of your mold while you're scraping or pushing, just fill it back in and smooth it down. So I'm just going to clean up my edges a little bit. Got a little bit too much in there. Okay. Whoops. I'm just flattening it. There, that looks pretty good. If you're doing a lot of molds and getting them ready for a larger project, you could definitely give it a quick, very light misting of water to smooth it out if it starts drying out on you. Okay, I'm going to coax that one out too. And another perfect one. The great thing is if it doesn't come out perfect and you're just not happy with it, you can wad it up like regular clay and start over. So now I'm going to have to be, let me paint my surface first with the glue. I saw somebody using a hot glue gun, and it was a certain type of glue stick that worked on the glass. I've got to research that because it was a little automatic glue gun. So I'm going to lay my glass down carefully on the opposite side because I don't want to smash my other mold. And I'm going to flip that on there. I'm just going to kind of line it up a little bit. Okay. Starting in the middle, smooshing any of my extra glue out, and no air pockets. Okay, I've got my sides so they kind of lined up a little bit. And I could leave it just like that, but I think I'm going to fill it in real quick with a little piece. Just a little piece. And I think I'm going to use that same, the seashell top here. Flatten that off. So you see, you don't have to use the entire mold. I'm just using a little piece of it. I'm going to flip that out, and I'm going to put it right here. Whoops. Just to fill in my spot. Okay, right there. You guys probably can't see that. I keep scooting it back. Oop, dropped it. Okay, my shell goes this direction. I'm going to squeeze it in there, push it down. There. Okay, one more, and then while those molds dry, we're going to do our little glass effect. The mirror. And you don't have to wait for everything to dry to paint it. It's actually a little easier to paint these while it's wet. It won't shrink as much. Cut that one off. There's my paper clay because we're done with that. And if you guys are looking for supplies, IOD supplies, we always recommend that you support your closest stockist. If you're not sure who that is, you can go to the Iron Arcus Design website, click on locate a retailer on that link, and you can search right there. And of course, if you got any questions about the product, you can just shoot me a message and I'll be sure to get you an answer. Okay. That looks pretty good. So while this is drying, let me move this stuff out of the way. And we are going to be using this right here, Krylon Looking Glass. We're going to be using that and a little bit of metallic paint. And then our paint for our bottom, which you can use whatever colors you want. That's looking good. Let me put the lid on the glue. And this is what I'm gonna do. Let me open the door real quick. I'm squirting the inside of my glass with just a little tiny bit of vinegar. And I'm gonna kind of wipe some off because I don't want it to run. So let me open the door real quick. Okay, and I did that because I'm squirting some of this. Not a lot, you don't need a lot. And I'm just gonna hold it at an angle and I'm gonna squirt some down in here. Rotating my glass. And it may not look like you got a lot in there, but you do. It'll be just fine. Okay, that's good. See, it wasn't hardly anything, so this little can would go a long way. So I'm just holding it upside down, rotating, because I do have extra vinegar in there. You can see, can you guys see the little bubbles starting? So wherever your vinegar is, these little clear holes, the little, looks like raindrops, anywhere where the vinegar is, the color that you choose to go over it is going to pop through. So you'll have this mirror effect, and then whatever color you want to pop through. Let me dry it just a second. So you guys can see it kind of has a slight mercury glass look. And I'm not going for a full mercury glass. Let me move my cornstarch out of the way. So now what I want to do is I'm going to use a metallic paint. Grab my paper towel, and I've got a small little brush. Holding it sideways, I'm going to just dab my brush in my paint. This is hard to describe. I flick it is what I do. So I'm going to tap it in here just like this. Not super heavy, but I don't want streaks. And I don't want big globs. And I'm not going to worry about the bottom because we're going to paint that with a chalk paint. So I'm just tapping. I hope you guys can see this. So I'm just like flatly tapping in there. So if I wanted to do a pink metallic, I would use pink metallic over my looking glass, and it would give me a mirror with a pink look. But I'm a gold, silver, glitter girl. So I always use a pale gold, a rich gold. And so you can see it's starting to look really good. And I do the inside just for cleaning purposes, and so that it doesn't scratch off if it's like in the kitchen or anything like that. Okay, I'm just rotating. This isn't taking hardly anything, but I'm almost done with the inside, and we'll start on the outside. Okay, now I'm going to paint my rim. Just for a finished look. That looks good. Missed a couple spots. Okay, so let me show you guys a close-up of that. And now we're going to paint the bottom. Let me see. I hope you can see that. It's so pretty. So now we're going to paint the bottom. So I'm going to use just a like a very pale taupe color. Rinse my brush out. Now I'm going to hold it, because we're only painting the bottom, so that you can see this faux mercury glass effect. And I'm going to paint right over my molds. And light-handedly, it's already kind of dry, but I don't want to smush my design up. I love these jars. I'm obsessed with them. Obsessed. Is there one of the IOD products you guys are obsessed with? I know everybody has like their favorite transfer, their favorite stamp. But it seems like every time I use a new one, it's my new favorite. And then I'm obsessed with it. Now my bottom might need 2 coats just because I'm painting it over glass, but it might not. I might like it just like this. Okay. And I'll show you how I do my top here. Almost done. And like I said, painting it while it's still moist, it lessens the amount of cracking you get. Okay, so I've got the whole bottom painted, and now I'm just going to take a little bit of paint and I'm going to bring it up. No rhyme or reason as far as how much. You can totally do this the other way. Paint it first, put your mold on. This is just how I like it. Okay, now before that dries, where's my bag? I'm going to take a plastic bag. I'm going to wad it so I can control it. And I'm going to squirt just the top, ever so slightly with the vinegar. And I'm gonna take my bag and I'm just daubing over this top to get rid of my line. So you can see it's just softening my line and making it more blended. There, that looks good. So now let me let this dry for a second. And we're going to put our embellishing wax on it. And a little bit of a metallic dry brush. And you can put more molds if you want. You can put less molds. And it dries pretty quickly. I can just move on to my next step. The other one I did paint the bottom. Let me show you. I did paint the bottom. Over here so you guys can see it. You can even put on this bottom, you can do a crackle. That would be pretty. Use the Craculor stamp by IOD. If I had it sitting right here, I would use it. Okay. Oh, these are so pretty. So pretty. So now I'm going to take a little bit of a paler metallic. Put that over here. And I'm going to highlight my mold and then paint this bottom half. And it's really just a dry brush of metallic. I'm just going to feather it on there. Just to give it a little bit of iridescent. A bit. Oh, these are so pretty. Is everybody ready for the holidays? I couldn't figure out why I felt like I didn't have enough time. And somebody mentioned, well, it's because you do have less time this year. It was, I think they said 3 weeks after Christmas instead of 4 weeks, or after Thanksgiving instead of 4 weeks. Is that right? I have to look at the calendar. So you can see I'm just adding a little bit of a shimmer, not heavy. I can just, my mind, for how much embellishing I could do on this. If you guys would, make sure you like the IOD page. Head over to my page, The Withered Barn. If you haven't already, click like and share my page with your friends. Share the IOD page. Look at that. Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, right there it is. So now you could put a ribbon around it. Use it for your utensils. Let's go here. Put my brushes in it. I could, this is probably what I'll do for the holidays, is put my floral in them. Look at, isn't that pretty? And it was quick project. Can you imagine how many you could whip out and give as gifts? Let it dry completely, put some treats in a saran wrap and put it in there with a ribbon. I would love that. That would be so cute. So 2 totally different looks. 1 mold. That's it. Super easy. So I will put on my page all the supplies, the list of supplies I used, and some quick instructions for y'all. So you guys have a great Tuesday, and I'll see you next Tuesday. All right, see you later. Bye-bye.